Okay, thanks everyone for being here. My name is Stan Pinnell. I'm a senior account executive at Revelwood, and I'm joined today by my colleague Sarah, who will be showing you today's overview demo of adaptive planning here in a few moments. Now, I just want to take a few minutes to give you an idea of what to expect today. First, some background on Revelwood. We are a platinum business partner of Workday, and what that means is that we are part of an extremely select group of partners that help you evaluate and implement the Workday Adaptive Planning solution. We have over 30 years of experience and are made up of a diverse team of certified experienced consultants that bring decades of financial operations and system know-how to each implementation. We have implemented over 200 adaptive customers over the past 8 years, and this list continues to grow. Not only that, but we also help existing adaptive customers with model enhancements, integration, support services, and one-on-one training. I'm aware that some of you may be here because you have an active initiative to evaluate a cloud FP&A solution, and some of you may just be here to learn or you're curious. Either way, we greatly appreciate you taking 15 minutes with us in the next few days just to have a quick chat and see what your current challenges are, if you have any feedback, and whether there are resources that we can follow up with. An important thing to know is the demo today is meant to just really give you a glimpse into what adaptive planning can do, and we should be finished in 30 minutes. During that time, everyone is on mute, but if you have a question, there is a Q&A button at the bottom. Please enter it there and we will try to get to it. If not, we will make sure to get back to you via email. I only have a few slides, but before we get started with the demo, just a quick overview of adaptive planning. Adaptive planning is a place where you can do your modeling, reporting, and analytics all on one single platform in one place, so that everything you need is in one solution and can serve as your central source of truth. So typically we're talking with finance teams, and of course we're pulling in the general ledger data, but adaptive can connect to any data source that you need it to, because at the end of the day, data is data, and you'll be able to bring all that data together into one place to model and report on with confidence. And this slide gives you an idea of some of the areas of the business that you can model and plan using adaptive, as it is not limited to core FP&A. You can model out really any operational area of the business that you want to with adaptive. And that's why adaptive today has over 7,000 customers globally in all different types of industries. This is way more than any of our competitors in the FP&A solution space. Did you know that Adaptive has a 95% gross retention rate? This speaks to the value of what these customers are getting out of Adaptive across all different types of industries, as you can see here. And this is growing rapidly across all these industries. Now I will hand over the webinar to Sarah, where she will give you an overview demonstration of the Workday Adaptive Planning platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Stan. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Hildenbrand. I just would love to introduce myself before I start this demo for you. So I used to be in your shoes. I used to be actually a client of Revelwood and of Workday. And my company, I was from the very beginning in this industry called self-storage, and we implemented adaptive, and I was the head admin for that. So I can know firsthand how hard it is to have a source of truth through your Excel files or however you currently budget and such, and how adaptive has made just such a great difference for my past company and reporting needs, budgeting, and any planning that they had. I also at Revelwood am an implementer here. So I help clients implement adaptive planning currently in all different types of industry. I'm a lead trainer here. And now I also am doing demos and sales as well. So excited to get started here. Let me pull up my screen. And we're going to set the scene here. So you just came in to work, month end close happened the night before, and you kind of want to see where you're at. Where is your actuals versus budget? How's everything going? And for that to happen, we see a dashboard here with some metrics on it. Right away, you have a quick glance of visuals of showing what happened with month end close. We have March numbers coming in, and we see at the top here, we have this forecast 3 plus 9. So this means in this different scenario, which is called versions and adaptive, we have 3 months of actuals now we can look at, and we can have 9 months of our planning data. This is one of the main components of how adaptive works. You need an intersection of data to exist, and there's 4 foundational components where that exists at. The first one is versions. This is any kind of scenarios you would need. We see that we have all these different planning versions with a little calculator there. And in the green here, we see that any type of actuals that you need can be pulled in. You have unlimited amount of planning versions in adaptive, which is great so that you can have any types to look at your data and do different scenarios in. There's also this option for this blue button that we're going to get to later today called New Scenario, where you can create your own personal scenario as an individual who has access to this instance. And that helps you be able to play around with your data, do different predictions before you officially merge it with one of your scenarios that already exist. One of the second main components of adaptive we have is called levels here. This is the hierarchy of your company. How do you budget? How do you plan by? This really helps you streamline your budgets and also helps if your company is growing it to be very scalable and easy and efficient ways to add to the level structure. Here we see that this is just broken out by our total company consolidated. Then it breaks out by those companies all the way down to departments. Some other level structures that you can see in adaptive is stores, locations, divisions, cost centers, profit centers, really any of your needs. The third component is time. We see that now we moved forward a month, that we're now at the very end of March since March closed. And you can do this by any kind of roll up from day to week to month to quarter to year, however your time strata is. The last one is accounts. So right away, we see that we can see like OpEx, net product revenue, even some calculations like gross margin percentage. So these are some accounts that exist at Adaptive. You can also pull in any other business metrics you want as an account in Adaptive for reporting and budgeting needs too. So I see a lot of information here, and the reason for that is I am currently a power user in the system. I have a security where I can see almost any level, any of these different scenarios up here, and that's what we're going to show during the demonstration. But Adaptive is great for security, that you can decide how specific do you want it to be for your users. Do you want people to be able to see or edit every level or different accounts as well? So I have my coffee now, I'm taking a look, and right away I can see that my OpEx skyrocketed from the month prior, okay? I want to kind of look into this and see what is going on. There's this option in Adaptive as well called dimensions, where you can have data associated with it, and attributes too. So right away, I want to drill into my dimension of department and see where is this expense coming from. Just with a click of a button, right away, I see this 6.3 million is broken out, and that sales north is the outlier. This is what's standing out for me. I can see the amount, I can compare it to the other departments, and I can even continue to drill down into those other dimensions and attributes as needed. Now, also in Adaptive, we have all these different tabs up here for some other data, maybe some CRM data that you want to look at, sales data, anything in particular. This shows kind of the capabilities that Stan already talked about, that you can pull in so many different data sources, not only just ERPs, but you can pull in like personnel data and stuff. That's all going to be done here in integration, where you have the opportunity to manually pull that in, or you can have it integrated with all of those systems and automatically set it. You can set this to have it run every hour, every day, once a week, once a month, whenever you want to run that schedule. You can pull in your data automatically so that right as month end close numbers are done, you pull that in, and already you can have a quick glance and see what is going on in your company. These visuals here for this dashboard can seem complicated, but they're so easy to create. So we're going to create one in real time right now. We're going to pull in those foundational components and we're going to create a pie chart right now. So as I click pie, maybe I want to see that OPEX in a different view. So I'm just going to do OPEX and maybe I want to see it by function instead. I create my name. There's all these different display options of how I want the visual to look and the labels, but I'm going to pull in that account. As I said earlier, accounts is one of the main foundational components, and we see that there's so many different types of accounts. You can do calculations, driver accounts, assumptions. What we're going to focus on right now is those general ledger accounts of OPEX. I take that, I select it, and here's my operating expense. Now what I want to do is maybe I want to break it down by that dimension of function instead of department now. All I have to do is go into it and select it, and I'll click function. And now I see it's broken into these. And if I click done, I already have it created for another tab in my dashboard for my company summary. I can also drill into this as needed as well. Now, how does all of these budgets and planning data get created? So that's going to be, if you go to the top left corner, this is where you have all the different sections broken out of Adaptive, and all the models and sheets exist in these two sections. We're going to look at our expenses right now of our expense sheet. So if I go to my expense sheet here, right away, I can see all this data again because I have access to it already. I see that I have that version again of 3 plus 9 because I want to see 3 months of actuals plus 9 of forecast data. And I'm actually going to drill now into kind of that department level of sales north and look at my numbers. In green here, this is your actuals overlaying. So you can select the actuals version to see it whenever you want. But what's great about Adaptive is for all your planning versions and scenarios, you can decide how far forward do you want your actuals to overlay. And I want it to be for 3 months here, see the full year from the prior, and now I want the rest to be my forecast data going forward and get that full year of what is actually predicted now for the rest of the year. And black is that forecast data. We see in blue here is going to be like a formula. So we see a formula here that's just kind of taking another account, so that blue arrow. And then white means that you can edit the cells, and gray means that they are locked. Another great security that if you don't want people touching your formulas or anything like that, you can have that set up in Adaptive. Helps a ton and is such an upgrade from Excel of how you have to manage not only so many tabs and formulas, but maybe so many workbooks that are linking and everything like that, that truly Adaptive gives you one source of truth that everyone can work in at the same time, but also can have securities as well that you don't accidentally override or put data and budget into other sections that you're not supposed to. So right here, I'm going to focus on this account of 6330 maintenance. So I see that I had actuals come in for March of 16,000 and I have nothing budgeted for the rest of the year. Because of this, I kind of want to update the rest of this forecast going forward to have it maybe be more accurate. So what I'm going to do is I had a contract come in and maybe it was $100 a month and maybe it's increasing every month a little bit. So I'm just going to type in 100. And from here in blue, it shows that I haven't saved it yet. If I right click on this and do copy forward, I have the option to copy forward it to the end or advanced. I'm going to just copy forward to the whole year here, and I'm going to increase it by a value percentage. I want to maybe increase it by 5% every month. All I do is click OK, and right away, not only can I put in inputs of however I need to, but I have these different native built-in functions to make it easier. So I see that I have now, the whole year is now budgeted out at 19,000 for this account for my level of sales north. Maybe I know it's actually going to be 20. I type that in, hit enter. I have all these breakback methodologies, and I just want to maybe break it back evenly. And now I see that I have my whole year budgeted out with just a couple clicks. I love this feature. This is what I used at my past company so much, where we really used reporting to kind of tweak our budget and everything like that to get to our NOI growth year over year. And whenever we needed to change a little bit of accounts and some levels that we'd go into the sheets, and we just override any formulas as needed to get us to our exact budget that we wanted to report to the board about. So I'm going to hit save. And now I'll see this populate in black, showing that it has been saved. And now it's my new forecast numbers. A lot of these blue arrows not only are just formulas, but they're linking from other budgeting models in Adaptive. So salaries and wages here is currently getting linked from the personnel sheet. All I have to do is I can right click on this. This is with any cells in Adaptive, and you can explore and see where that data comes from and all the intersections. As I explore here, I see my total number amount. I see all of those foundational components, and I want to keep clicking to find the model where it's coming from. Right away, I see some personal salary information that could be really sensitive data. Again, the reason why I see this is that I actually have access in specific areas in Adaptive to salary detail. You can have certain accounts where if only in your permission set, you can have access to salary detail, you'll be able to see it at all. And the personnel sheet already is automatically salary detail focused, that you have to have access to that. So that's the only reason why I can see these individual salaries here. And now I want to go to that personnel planning sheet. So I click on it and it pops it up for me. And right away, I'm going to check those foundational components again that I see I'm looking at sales north. And this kind of sheet in Adaptive is truly where the magic happens. Okay, we were looking earlier at a standard sheet where it is more kind of like an Excel sheet where it just has your columns and rows. This is the one that has like the best of both worlds, in my opinion, where you can do so many cool calculations and stuff and a visual, and where you can really get into workforce planning. So this helps you make true business decisions going forward. And the reason for that is that I have the option to put in for my columns different names, dates, salary amounts, so numbers, anything that we have. I can pull in dimensions into this, my levels. And what's great about this for planning is that I can even do some allocations here in this sheet. So I see that I have William Clark here, and he's currently getting allocated 60% into North sales, but only 40 into sales South. And we're allocating all of his personnel data and everything like that. The reason why it's the best of both worlds is because, like I said, you can type in data and see all these different columns, but then you're able to do any calculations that you're needed and accounts on here that you can pull on for reporting. So to see the accounts on this sheet, all I do is right click and do row details. And I have another pop-up that this is where once his date is entered in of his start date, it automatically will start creating his salary for me and having that data pull in, bonus, or any other accounts that I need to budget out my personnel expense. He also has all those different types of taxes that you can break out tax rates by state or location or any needs you have. As well as Medicare here we see is pulling in. So truly it gives you the best options of where you can enter in any text fields or anything like that, but use dates or anything like that to calculate how you want to allocate out the expenses when you want them to start for each individual here. And this is called a modeled sheet in Adaptive. Now, after I drilled into my expenses to kind of see where it's going and everything's getting updated, I want to start looking at my revenue and see if I need to make any adjustments going forward. So I'm going to go to this revenue sheet. This is called a cube sheet in Adaptive. This is where you can really truly pivot your data to any view as needed. Here we see that this is kind of product revenue that we're looking at. We see our units, our price, gross revenue. Again, on this sheet, it gives us the great overlay of actuals in green with our current forecast data in black here. And then we see that we have these different dimensions at the top that we're able to budget at so many different elements besides just those foundational components. I want to really start looking into my units here and maybe budget it by customers broken out. What you can do for that is that you can change the dimensions here where you can stack any of these components however you want and decide whatever you want to be a filter as well, or with just dragging and dropping. I now have the great option where I now see my customers broken out by units and for product A. Now for this, I want to make sure that I'm actually going to be budgeting at that location of Sales North. So I'm going to select that. And as I do, I can see that these cells now are editable. And maybe for all of these sales, I just want to increase it by 500 for the full year. I can just select all of them, right click, click adjust, and distribute that increase. And I click OK. And now I see that's broken out. I can hit save. And now I have this data changing. Now with that change, maybe I want to see another change in my own personal scenario. I just can click personal scenario here. Say I do test, create that, and I want to switch to that new scenario to do a comparison. I can now do the same thing that maybe I actually want to right click, adjust, and maybe adjust it individually each one by 50. Now I have that new numbers in and I click save. And now I have two different versions in Adaptive that I can compare. I just updated my forecast 3+9 and I just updated my personal test scenario. This one people will not have access to unless I share it with them or merge it into any of my other scenarios. And yellow shows the changes that I've made. From here, I've seen that my expenses have increased from the prior month. I see that I made some changes in revenue for the rest of the year. And I really want to kind of dive into this data and drill into it deeper in reporting. So I'm going to go straight to my reports. I'm going to look at this current month P&L variance analysis here. Right away, I see red, okay? I'm looking at my current month of March 2024, and I'm actually comparing my actuals versus whatever my budget was for 2024. And we see that red is bad here. Even if it's your favorite color or something that you like, we know that in reporting that is not the best. So I want to drill down into this. So I'm just going to open it up, see what's my issue here, and I see it's other T&E. Again, now I can take a deeper dive into that department like I looked at for the dashboard. And it verifies that Sales North is my issue here. Maybe some data wasn't booked properly in the journal entry there, and I can get back to my accounting team and double check everything. You can even continue to drill down even further in any other your dimensions or main foundational components of Adaptive. Now I want to look at that scenario I created. So I'm going to actually go to my forecast 3+9. I'm going to update that and change it to my test to compare those two. And I'm actually going to move it forward to now April because we only have plan data from April going forward. I run report here, and I can see in revenue that there are some changes of the differences there, that my test has increased it by 30,000. Not only are there web reports in Adaptive, we're really on the back end of this. You can pull in all of the different components here. You pull in time. It's actually very simple interface to use. But there's also that functionality of Office Connect. And so this is where it's an add-in in your Excel. And it gives you that option to pull in everything that you have set up in Adaptive and be able to use Excel formatting and formulas as needed. What's great about all reporting in Adaptive that I've showed you today, dashboards, web reports, and Office Connect here in Excel, is that this doesn't change any of your data. You're not potentially changing your budgets or your versions or anything like that. It's just taking what already exists and it's pretty much playing around with it and creating those reporting needs. So currently we see that we have our February set. With just a click here, I can change that date to the next month. since month end close happened for March that I keep talking about. And I can refresh this for my whole workbook here with all these different Office Connect reports. As that refreshes, I see automatically it all updates. And to see what is actually coming in from Adaptive versus what is part of Excel, I can just click linked cells here and see in blue is all of my data, and then in green are those foundational components or dimensions. There's also the option to expand some of these different GL accounts or any accounts to kind of take a deeper dive. I'm going to click on payroll. I'm going to expand this, kind of see the breakdown of all the GL accounts under it. And it's still giving me that trend and all this information that I want to see. Can go back up here and collapse it as well. Now for 13 through 17 here, I see that I don't have any data pulled in yet. That's because I haven't pulled in any of the elements of Adaptive that already exist. It's super easy and quick. I just can select these rows, go find those general ledger accounts, select those all the way down to other expenses, drag and drop. And from here, after I refresh the section, I now have new data pulling in directly from Adaptive that is getting updated automatically whenever I refresh this workbook. You can do repeating reports for this as well, where you can use any of your components in Adaptive and repeat this for time, levels, dimensions, any uses. Not only do you have this great option where this automatically pulls in your data from Adaptive and updates it for you, you can now automatically do that through PowerPoint as well. So since I updated Office Connect, this is linked from there and I want my whole board meeting deck to be updated too. I just click refresh and boom, March 2024. Right away now, instead of spending those endless hours of taking all of my Excel files and manipulating the data and having to update my PowerPoint, I just hit refresh and it's automatically pulling it in. And I now am ready to go for my board meeting. The whole great process of Adaptive is how it's all interconnected, and it just gives you that one source of truth where you can truly streamline your budgeting needs however you want and be able to benefit from the great reporting as well. Thank you guys so much for attending this webinar. And please, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, like Alex said. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. That was great. Hopefully everyone saw how powerful, flexible, and especially how easy it is to use Adaptive with the simple drag and drop functionality. If you need more information, we have plenty of resources we can make available to you, such as a one-on-one demonstration that speaks more to your needs. We can offer up ROI sessions to quantify the value of this investment, hands-on workshops, and even give you a hands-on trial. Just let us know what makes sense for you when we connect in our follow-up meeting or reach out to me directly. We are happy to help you. Thanks again, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and we'll be in touch here in the near future. Thanks.